Never thought I would utter these words, but Nova Grappler is looking pretty lit right now. Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update. Today we had another reveal stream, and as expected, there was a lot for Nova Grappler this time around, as Bushiroad is Bushiroad, and we're gonna have to wait for Overlord the Great, probably till the last day when this set is gonna be dropped. But not only did we get Nova Grappler releases today, we also got a sneak peek to the new artworks for the upcoming Premium Collection set, as they revealed officially this time around the Apostles for the Premium Collection. But we're not gonna get into that right now, as we're probably gonna get the official release of those cards with skills in a couple of days, as that set is also bound to be dropping not all that long from now. So check out for the near future, but at least know that the original Apostles from Vanguard GZ, so Dumjit, Velios, Gridora, and Chaos Breaker in the form of Glue Dragon this time around, and Gasteel are gonna get a new Stride version this time around. But today we're gonna focus mainly around the Nova Grappler support, as they are looking pretty damn insane, and I'm pretty damn hyped right now for this clan. But we're gonna get in that a little bit later, after we've seen all the cards, so you understand why I'm so excited about these cards right now. Let's jump right into these cards. There were 3 cards revealed this time around: a grade 1, a grade 2, and the grade 3, the VR. So first off, we've got this grade 1, Beast Deity Scarlet Bird, and the skill of this grade 1 is Auto and Vanguard Circle. When placed during your main phase, cost Soul +1, stand all of your units. If you stand 2 or more units and you have Beast Deity White Tiger in your soul, draw a card. Beast Deity White Tiger, that's basically the new starter for Nova Grappler. That's the White Tiger card, and it's basically to prevent that you have some shenanigan plays with the high power custom riser, as that also works with the starter, so you have some balancing issues with it. What's interesting about this card is that when you look at it on its own, it's really odd to see you stand everything when it's placed during your main phase. Everything is already stand. Well, not necessarily, because we have a card named Brutal Jack or Genocide Jack that cannot stand during the stand phase, but to stand it you can rest 2 rear guards to stand that card. And that synergizes well with this card, because this card can now stand those 2 units once again and you draw off it. So Genocide Jack is now basically free of cost, it has no restriction, and this card just states Soul Blast 1 and draw a card, and that's actually pretty damn good. But it also has some great synergy with the upcoming cards, the grade 2 and the grade 3, that makes this card even better. And we also have a niche interaction with Screaming Dancer and Shout Announcer, as it rests itself in the main phase to do a kind of check with your opponent to see what top card is, and one of them is soul charging and the other is going to draw from it, or both players draw. Because it rests itself, it can then stand with this card again, and then you can use that skill again, as since that Screaming Dancer Shout is not a once per turn. So in that sense, you can have a weird draw engine or soul charge engine going on for you and your opponent. So we have to see how that's going to interact. But overall, a very good card. Then next up, we've got this grade 2 Beast Deity Black Tortoise, and his skill is act on Vanguard Circle once per turn, cost Counter +1, Soul Blast 1, stand this unit and attack your opponent's Vanguard with it. If that attack did not hit, at the end of the battle, stand this unit. Alright, first off, it's odd to say, well, why would you stand it? Well, as stated before, it synergizes with Brutal Jack, as you can then rest this one for the cost of Brutal Jack to stand Brutal Jack, and then immediately use its skill to counterblast, soul blast, stand it once again, and attack right then. So if you could give it power, like maybe for 4k, so it's 13k on its own, or put it on an Axel circle, you attack right then to your opponent, and if the thing at 5 damage, they need to guard it, and it immediately stands again, and you have a free second attack. So potentially 2 attacks for a counterblast and a soul blast. What also is very neat is that you can use this skill, and they take the damage, it's now rest, and it's before your attack phase, but you can then use Scarlet Bird to once again stand this card, and you can attack again during the official attack phase. So that has really good synergy with Scarlet Bird as well as Genocide Jack. And I just realized now that I'm using as well as Brutal Jack as Genocide Jack for the same unit. Oh, we'll just go with it. But overall, this is a really good card in the sense that it has good offense. You can attack 2 times potentially for a counterblast Soul Blast. You can maybe even attack more or get more use out of it, as you can combine it with Brutal Jack and as well with Scarlet Bird, and potentially with the VR, it's even more insane. So let's take a look at that VR to see what I'm talking about. The VR for Nova Grappler this time around is Beast Deity, Azure, Dragon. And it's got 2 skills, and these 2 skills are pretty damn good, as its first skill is Auto Vanguard Circle. When placed, cost, counterblast 1, draw a card, call a card from your hand to the rearguard circle, and attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. If that attack did not hit, at the end of the battle, stand that unit. So basically what it does is when it writes, you get an extra marker, you then counterblast 1, draw a card, and then call something, and attack immediately with it. The good thing about this card is that no matter the situation, you will always have a card that you can call and that can hit your opponent, because when you write it, you will gain a new Axel circle that's now empty. You draw a card and you can then call that card immediately. Even if it's the trigger, it will attack for 15k and it will hit anything over, as we do not have a higher base power Vanguard right now on the top of my head. And that's really good, as if they're sitting at 5 damage, they immediately get whammed with that unit for twice, as it then stands immediately. You can attack it during the attack phase. Then the second skill of this card is Auto Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, counterblast 1 and stand one of your rearguards. So another potential of restanding a unit. So with 2 counterblasts, we can potentially attack 3 times, as the first one allows for potential 2, but at least 1, and then the second is another one. So right there is already 10 times better than Perfect Riser, as for 2 counterblasts, Perfect Riser only stands 2, and you have a pseudo on-hit ability that doesn't really matter in most senses. This one can do, for counterblast 2, potentially generate 3 extra attacks, but it's split about 2 skills, so you cannot really damage deny it, and that's what makes this card already pretty damn good. But then if you combine it with cards like Black Tortoise, that then you call that thing, it attacks. Oh, it did not hit, well, it attacks again, and it's now rested. Then you use Black Tortoise skill, counterblast Soul Blast, stand it then, it attacks again, and oh, it did not hit, it stands again, you can attack it again during the battle phase. That's for 2 counterblasts and a Soul Blast, that's 4 attacks right there, and if you call it to an Axel circle, that's at least 19k. So if they're sitting at 5 damage, they need to drop 4 cards right there, and that's pretty damn insane if you think about it. You can also combine it with Brutal Jack, in a sense that if they're sitting at low damage, you can at least get a value out of it, as seen as itself is already plus 10k. So if they get a damage trigger, that thing can still hit on an Axel circle, as seen as it's a 29k attacker on an Axel circle. That's really good. And that's basically gonna make Nova Grappler pretty damn insane, is yes, if they're sitting at 5 damage, you can go nuts and go with a lot of extra attacks they need to guard, and because they're gonna guard, you're gonna get extra attacks out of it for free. And you might think, well, that's pretty bad, as you do not get value out of them if you're sitting at low damage. Well, if they take the damage at low damage, they are staying rested, and that might sound bad. But then again, you have Scarlet Bird that you can then use, and it's immediately stand everything for only a single Soul Blast. And that's pretty big, and that's probably gonna make Nova Grappler really threatening. As I'm looking at the cards right now, it's really looking like Gold Paladin, in the sense that you're gonna call everything in your main phase, and you're using your skills in your main phase. So you can wait and see, oh, my opponent did not get a damage trigger. Well, I'm now gonna resolve this skill to get some extra attacks out of it, and I'm gonna keep poking him and see if he gets a damage trigger or not. And when he gets it, I'm gonna stop using skills. I'm now gonna attack in my main phase and hope with my Vanguard that I get maybe a crit or a front trigger or something like that. And that's what's gonna probably catapult Nova Grappler from the lowest tier rank right now to maybe tier 2 and maybe even tier 1. The interaction with all these cards is pretty damn insane. And you might say, well, there's a lot of counterblast Soul Blast. Note that in the first set in Q4, they already got a lot of cards that can generate some resources. We got Boomerang Thrower that can generate counterblast and Soul Charge, and we've got other counterblast cards like, I believe, Transit Riser that can Soul Blast to generate a counter charge. And we got all these kinds of different ways to get more resources. And I think Nova Grappler is looking in a real good spot right now. And even with Screaming Announcer, it now makes sense to run that card, as yes, you give your opponent cards to guard with, but at the same time, it's not 100% they draw from it, and you get at least either soldiers or a draw, and that's either way pretty damn good, and you can abuse that card, and that makes it really good in my opinion. So as you can see, I'm really hyped for this set, as not only is this Nova Grappler support looking pretty damn awesome, I'm really fan of the Blaster engine right now with Masonic Lord Blaster, as well as the new brand cards with all the mind games of these whole Starhawk cards. So this set is looking really great for me, and we have to wait and see if Overlord the Great is as great as the rest, to see if this is gonna be one of my favorite sets for Standard as basically ever, as I've never been this excited for almost every card in this set, with all these insane synergy effects. As I showcased before, the synergy between Nova Grappler is through the roof right now, and I think this is actually what it needed. And another interesting thing about it is it might not really spell it right now, the cards, but a lot of these cards allows you to stand themselves. Scarlet Bird stands everything, and Beast Deity Black Tortoise stands itself. You know what that means, right? If Mega Colony in the future support is gonna get real good support, and it's gonna stun a lot, and it's gonna be meta relevant, that in itself is another boost to Nova Grappler support, as this whole thing is countering the whole stun system from Mega Colony, as they can just stand themselves right out of the stun lock, as usually stunning is only that they cannot stand during the stand phase. So we have to wait to see for the upcoming support. And note that Nova Grappler is gonna get another support wave right after this set. So I'm almost certain to bet my money on the fact that Nova Grappler is gonna get a high tier level deck right now. It's probably gonna be at least tier 2 and maybe even tier 1 right now, as it is looking really good. But we have to wait to see when all the cards are revealed, and when everybody's playtesting and what the results are. But overall, I'm looking really excited, and you shouldn't sleep over these cards, because this is nothing to sneeze at. But that's basically it for today. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of these new Nova Grappler support, if you're just as hyped as me for these cards. And I think it's something that Nova Grappler really should have gotten, as their treatment in Standard was not the brightest of all clans right now. And I hope that Aquaforce is going to get the same treatment, as they are in the same spot as Nova Grappler right now. But with this support, I'm having high hopes for the upcoming Maelstrom support cards. But as I stated before, let me know in the comments down below what you think. I also want to give a shout out to my Patreon supporter, Priest and John Edmondson. You guys are amazing, and you guys make these videos possible. If you also want to be a supporter of this channel, then go to patreon.com/Vanguard Insider and become a patron today, as you help me making the videos that I love to make for you guys. But with that said, I'm Mr. Time Leap. See you guys in the next one.